There's been more violence in Thailand. An outspoken leader of the so-called Red Shirt Party, those people who support the government of Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra, was shot. Gunmen sprayed the house of Kwanchai Prayipana, wounding him. The attack came on the first day of a state of emergency imposed by Yingluck and is the latest in a string of shootings and bombings in Thailand. To tell us more about the anti-Yingluck forces, we have Mark Saxer on Skype from Bangkok. Saxer is a political analyst and country representative in Thailand of Germany's Friedrich Ebert Foundation. With offices all over the world, the foundation promotes the values of social democracy. Welcome to Link Asia.
Good morning from Bangkok.
Well, you believe the anti-Yingluck protesters are part of a worldwide trend of middle-class anger. Explain that.
Well, what we've been seeing over the last decades, actually, but most pointedly over the last 10 to 15 years, is that we had a lot of social economic development in countries like Ukraine, Egypt, Venezuela, Turkey, and also Thailand, which means that a lot of people have been grown out of poverty and are claiming basically their political and social rights. This does, to a certain extent, threaten the elites and the middle classes in the capitals. So if you see all these protests in these places raging, you will notice that most of the governments that they're protesting against have been elected. And there is at least a formal democracy in place. So it's a little bit different from your common discourse where you would say that the more middle class you have, the more democracy you will get.
Well, the middle class is supposed to be critical to democracy. So why are Thais taking to the streets?
Well, of course, there's the obvious first answer, and this is also what they would say. It's about corruption, it's about incompetence of the government, it's about nepotism. I think all of these claims are right to a certain degree. But the question is, number one, how do you replace an electoral democracy with? The claims of the protesters in Bangkok have been, to a certain degree, anti-democratic. They would like to suspend electoral democracy and replace it with an unelected People's Council. But there are also deeper anger at place. I think this has to do with things like identity, with things like being the feeling of being robbed by populist elites.
You claim that the protesters are being manipulated by political entrepreneurs. Who are they?
Well, basically, there's two games in town. You have basically what's happening on the streets. We just talked about that a little bit. But behind the scenes, there is a vicious power struggle going on between the elites, which is about the control of this country politically, economically, and socially over the next decades to come. Both sides of the aisle, we call them red and yellow here, both sides of the aisle have mastered to mobilize masses for them. The yellow side, more the middle class from Bangkok and the people from the south of Thailand. The red side has mobilized the north and the northeast of the country. Both sides, I think, of the people on the street genuinely believe that they will make democracy better. But in the bigger picture, I think they serve as the foot soldiers of vested interests.
So do you see a way out of this situation then?
In the short run, of course, over the next couple of weeks, it will be heated. It will be rough here in Bangkok. We have an election coming up that is being contested. The opposition does not want to participate in it, and a couple of actors are trying to actively torpedo the election. So we will see probably a lot of struggling going on, probably, and unfortunately also some violence in the streets.
Okay. Well, all right. Mark Saxer, thank you for being with us.
You're most welcome.
Mark Saxer heads the Friedrich Ebert Foundation office in Thailand. The foundation's named after Germany's first democratically elected president.
Now on U.S. airwaves, a global channel of uncompromising stories. World news, documentaries, entertainment, and culture. Link TV, connecting you to the world. For more information, visit linktv.org.